y'all have it in your heads that I'm not this superstar or whatever, and honestly, I don't claim to be a superstar. I claim to be a rock star. I claim to be a champion for the people like myself and those that look up to me.
But if you call the cops on me, I swear to God, I'll disown both you and him, and I'll find somewhere else with.
How's it going, everybody? The Lolcow summer is in full swing, and Cyraxx is right along there with it. I mean, literally. Him and Sally and Ed got into one of the biggest altercations I've ever heard from them. Sally is screaming, so is Ed, so is Cyraxx, and something went down behind the scenes. It was all behind camera, but guys, you're going to hear, it was not good. Cyraxx and Sally, it was almost the same incident as when Cyraxx wanted to walk all the way to Kansas. Except thank goodness this time Ed was there to save the day. I mean, I don't want to know what it would have been like if Ed wasn't there. And it was so confusing. I mean, it's not confusing because it's Cyraxx. It's just very hypocritical of him, because the couple videos we're going to watch before we get directly into that, because it's a nice way to build up to it, is that Cyraxx was just been oh so thankful for every blessing he's had in his life up until now, and he wanted to do good for another person. He was going to change someone else's life just like his life has changed for the better. What necessarily happened, I'm not sure, but in his own words, it's gotten a lot better in the last couple of years, specifically around February, because Cyraxx also has a big revelation that I didn't even know he finally came to the conclusion, but we're going to talk about that more later. Not hard to guess what it is, but yeah, Cyraxx finally knows, or believes, I guess. But either way, this has caused him to become a family man now, and he's going to do everything in his power to become famous, of course, successful, you know, going to get the women, the money, the power, the fame, and he's going to get his family out of the trenches. Except for now, because Cyraxx is going to be the one in the trenches, because he might end up homeless. Well, we all know he's not going to be homeless. We all know Sally's not kicking him out anytime soon, but if there's a possibility, it's closer now than it ever was before.
I'm here to say something, and I don't care what a hater has to say. You know, after my live stream earlier, I was sitting down thinking about it, and God told me that I needed to make this video, so here I am. But at the end of the day, y'all's opinions are just that. They are opinions. They are not fact. If they were fact, there would be some sort of credibility behind it, but there's not. See, all y'all have this perception that I'm this evil fucking person. Like, if I was evil, let me ask you something. If I was evil, then why did I call out my ex Kira Grieve on the shit that she did? I have not lost one mental battle. Yes, there were times where I came close, but I didn't. Y'all have it in your heads that I'm not this superstar or whatever, and honestly, I don't claim to be a superstar. I claim to be a rock star. I claim to be a champion for the people like myself and those that look up to me. Why? Because I believe in doing good for people. I believe in helping people as much as I possibly can. Whether it's 1 people or 2 people, whether it's 100 people or 1,000 people, I don't care. There are times where I do feel like giving up. When I do feel like walking away and saying F it. And being a hermit for the rest of my life. But I don't let myself go that route. Why? Because I have too many people that depend on me. My friends, my family, and more important, those that actually look up to me. Wherever. It doesn't matter. If I can help even just 1 person, then I'm doing my job as a person. At the end of the day, if I can help even just 1 single person,
It's so crazy that Cyraxx opens this up by talking about his credibility, and in literally a day, and the way Cyraxx is, this could be less than a day, it could be 24 hours, I just can't quite remember at the time, but within a day or so, Cyraxx manages to prove again and again why his credibility is the way it is. So you're just gonna tell me all of the evidence that's stacked up against you is false, except the new incoming evidence, which will quickly get swept under the rug, and then it'll be false again, and then we'll just be playing this weird game to where you have to mess up again on even bigger of a scale for you to even have to remotely acknowledge it. And we know what's going to happen. This incident, what's going to happen later in the video, is going to get memory hold. The altercation with him, Sally, and Ed, it's probably already gone. This has happened to him 6 or 7 months ago at this point. It's water under the bridge, and Sally and Ed just need to get over it. He can't understand why they're still a little bit upset. And when it comes to you and Kara, you was just upset at her, Cyraxx. If you had no problem, if she was still pretending to date you, you would have been defending her no matter what. No matter what accusation came her way, Cyraxx was going to sweep for that as well. But since she decided to quote-unquote dump you, whatever the realness of your guys' relationship is, if you wasn't dumped, you would have been just fine with everything. In fact, when it came to Kara, you was demanding to walk all the way to whatever state she was in and live with her in a homeless shelter. You was going to give up on your family and commit to being a hermit with this girl. And it's even funnier because you're saying, no, I can't be a hermit anymore, guys. I can't live that lifestyle, even though I was so close to it. And who gives up on the internet? And the next option is being a hermit. Typically, you should have a lot more downfalls after getting off the internet before you end up a hermit. I don't know how those are just the next step. But then again, it is Cyraxx, and he probably is going to be a hermit now because he's lost the dedication to his family. The altercation has changed this man. He will now be a hermit. Well, he's not going to be a hermit, guys. He's going to tell those tons of people that look up to him, who see Cyraxx as a father figure, who see Cyraxx as a mentor to guide them through life, because it's been such a great one so far. I mean, don't you want to live exactly like this? Getting into arguments with your grandma and her boyfriend on the nightly to the point you could possibly get kicked out on being on the streets. That's the person you look up to. Except that one guy who made the phone call. Cyraxx wasn't helping that one guy today. He had better things to do. Complain about his own problems on the internet. And funnily enough, we all know that if Cyraxx is going to help you, it just means, here, I'm going to tell you my problems for at least 7 hours. Do you want to hear the history of 7 to 8 years of my life? Well, here you go. And then, after they're bored to sleep, they're snoozing, they wake up and realize, you know what? Not that bad. I'll get over it.
This year is my ultimate fight. This is my David versus Goliath fight this year. And all those years of going through that pain was preparing me for this moment to rebuild back up the proper way. You know, it wasn't until this month that I found my people. That I truly found those that I can help. I found my community of people. I found my people that not only support me, but who I support as well. I found my people that not only got my back, but I found my people whose back that I can have. I finally found the people that would fight for me just like I would for them. Because at the end of the day, I don't see myself as this massive, super famous person. I don't. I've never once saw myself as being super famous. Yeah, sure. A lot of people might know who I am. Cool. And because I tried to do good, God saw that and rewarded me. Rewarded me with my fan base. Rewarded me with a community of people who I am proud to call my fans and my friends. And not only that, but He rewarded me with a second chance to rebuild my life back. And I'm not going to waste that second chance. I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to do everything I can to rebuild myself. Because there's one thing that I grew up being taught. And not grow up as a kid, but like growing up in, social media. Growing up in, learning certain aspects of business. One of my mentors, granted he was a bit of a weirdo, but he still taught me a lot. He was a mentor to me. He really taught me a lot about business. Because I did work for him for a long time. Those that run their mouths don't usually get anywhere. Those that think that they know you, when they run their mouth about you negatively, they themselves don't even know themselves. Those are the ones that usually don't get anywhere. Those are the ones that become so ingrained in what they do that they can't move. I'm making boss moves behind the scenes that you guys don't know about. That you guys will never know about. I never move without purpose. Every move I make is calculated, cold, precise. I never miss my mark. Everything I do, including this video, is intentional. There's a reason behind every move that I make. Behind every step that I take.
And he's watching every move you make. No, don't forget that one, Cyraxx. It's like you can tell what Cyraxx has been listening to, what he's watching the last couple of days by whatever he's talking about inside of his normal rambles. And you're also thinking of Infamous. You're definitely not famous, and you do not need a group of people that you're trying to help. You need help yourself, like tons of it. You don't need to talk to people and tell them what to do. You need guidance from professional people that'll at least try to give you some direction. Like your Cyraxx, I don't know if you'll be able to pull it off, if you'll be able to go through with all their steps, but you need something like that. And the way you're being so preachy about it and pretending like your past didn't happen, it's some revisionist history here, guys, today. So it's almost like a test what's going to occur later. I'm just thinking that's all it can be. The way he's been so preachy, Cyraxx just completely set himself up for failure. But honestly, we all know it's no test. Cyraxx is just the only person in the world who could manage to just mess their life up that quick in a matter of seconds. He can just throw it all away. No matter what he was preaching 4 minutes ago, Cyraxx will just squander it all in a blink of an eye. And then, talking about things getting squandered in a blink of an eye, any kind of business Cyraxx would ever run, if he just had a long-lost family member that he somehow didn't burn a bridge with already, that just donated Cyraxx a ton of money and he started up some kind of business, he would just absolutely ruin it. Not only from the PR of that being the owner, because if he had a good enough one and there was a monopoly going on, they would definitely root out Cyraxx and just take that away from him super quick. But you have no way of working with people. Anytime you try to communicate, whether someone's being nice to you or anything, if they slightly step out of line for however Cyraxx is thinking they should act to him, you're gonna freak out, you're gonna cuss them, you're gonna do things and say things that most people would never even consider in an argument, but it's fair game to you, Cyraxx, and you don't even think much of it. We've seen you do the worst of the worst and then show up on live stream 20 minutes later acting like it was no big deal. This is the kind of stuff you do, so you really think you could run a business? And do we even really have to mention that Cyraxx, throughout his entire career on the internet, a decade-long career, has only earned about $160-something? So not only should you not be giving business advice, you shouldn't even be taking advice about business, because you need to learn simple money management. You need to learn the simple skills first before you're even thinking of starting a business. Maybe go start a lemonade stand outside of Akron, Ohio. But even then, you might have to get a permit for that, and you have a bad rep. And one of the funniest things to me when he's like, all right guys, I'm going to give you a speech about business, something that was taught to me, it was ingrained to me about the entire foundation of what makes a business run. He immediately says nothing about business and just gives a slight sob story about his life. No matter what's said to you, you just overcome. What does that have to do with business? If people can find a way to get at you just by spreading rumors, it's probably going to happen in the business world. I don't think the NASDAQ cares about your 8-year sob story.
I'm not slowing down for you. I ain't stopping for you, so you may as well just move on somewhere else. Because eventually I will be successful. Eventually I will get back to the point to where I was. And when I do get to that point, you trolls won't be able to stop me. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, I won't be able to be shut down, period. And like I said, am I slowly working my way back to that point every day? Yes. And I love the journey. I enjoy the journey. I love the hard work. And I hope this video helps inspire you guys to get up and chase your dreams. And even when you feel like quitting, don't. When you feel like quitting, that's when you need to dig in deeper and deeper into what you want to do with your life. You want to go to the gym? You feel like giving out? Do more. Bro, my family ain't even here right now, bro. They're actually out and doing shit. Because I just don't give a fuck what y'all think. I stopped giving a fuck what y'all think today that Marty... Like, for real, man. Why didn't I go with them? That's easy. Somebody's got to stay and guard the house from idiots. People be out here shit from my house to where I have to play guard duty when it's guard duty. Which is fine, I don't mind. It just means I can do my shit without being interrupted. But with that being said, y'all, I am about to bounce for now because I do have somebody calling in. But I love you guys. I'll catch you guys later on.
It's so weird hearing Cyraxx acknowledge that Marty is no longer here and that he's not absolutely losing his mind, because we know that Cyraxx didn't want to accept it, because if he accepted it, that means that Cyraxx is no longer accomplishing things because of his own actions. It's almost like prophecy, the way Cyraxx is finally bringing this up, and I haven't been watching for like a month, maybe 3 or so weeks. I've been mainly keeping up with Low T. I think he was far more interesting. It was something crazy going on for the moment, and he kind of just disappeared all of a sudden, but it's Low T. He managed to have such a sudden downfall, worse than Cyraxx ever has. Like, somehow he managed to have a downfall worse than Cyraxx. And I guess Cyraxx might have got jealous of that. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna outdo Low T. I've got to. But for real, guys, I really do think it might be prophecy, because it's like one last time we're proven right that Cyraxx, by no other means, will manage to screw everything up. He will crash out on his grandma with no troll interaction. No one will be talking to him. He'll literally just be on stream. And when he's talking about being a guard dog, which is just one of the most embarrassing things I've ever heard in my life. Who wants to describe themselves as a 35-year-old guard dog for your grandma's house? You should be able to go enjoy your life. Like, go out, have dinner with your family. What Cyraxx did end up doing, and crashed out on the same night. So no matter how much joy Cyraxx could be having, he's going to squander it. It's game over for the guy. Because we're finally getting to it, guys. Cyraxx proves it to us once again and crashes out on Sally and Ed, possibly one of the worst times we've ever heard.
Today, I got to visit with my uncle. So me and my family went out, spent time with my aunt and uncle. And as I was talking to my uncle, I was explaining to him everything that's been going on. He looked at me and he said the one thing to me that I will never forget, that I will always carry with me. He looked at me and said, Vince, in life, there's always going to be bad things that happen, no matter what. There's always going to be bad shit that happens. There's always going to be bad times. There's always going to be bad people that do horrible things, whether they are musicians, whether they are regular people. When it comes to the music side of things, you might not agree with that person's views or what they've done, but it is your job to take that negativity, no matter what it is. It is your job to take that negativity and turn it into a positive, because there is always positive within that negative. There is always light within the darkness. And if my uncle is watching this, to my uncle, I want you to know that I love you. I had a great time with you today, and thank you for everything that you've taught me. I don't see myself as a celebrity. I see myself as a regular ass dude. You can ask anybody here that knows me. I'm just a regular dude. And when it comes down to it, if I had to, I will give the shirt off my back to somebody if they need it. Hang on, 1 second. What?
Put it down. You wouldn't answer me.
You can't just call my phone.
No, I can't. No, I can't. It doesn't work that way.
What you're saying, if you want me to give up, so basically you're wanting me to stop everything I'm doing.
No, you don't
Yeah,
have to say
no.
it that loud.
Well, like I said, I don't have a
It's
phone.
whatever.
I do give her
Just
fucking
stop
respect.
it right now.
Hey! That's what you did.
Get upstairs!
That's what you did.
Get out of here, kid! Now!
I ain't doing shit to either of you.
Liar! I said get your ass upstairs!
And you need to stop supporting it. By you defending your
Get
support.
upstairs!
You know, Mom, you can defend all you want. I'm packing my shit up and I'm leaving.
Go upstairs so I can embarrass you some more. Go on! Go on! I want to embarrass you some more.
And you wonder why I wanted to disown all y'all and leave.
Hey, call the cops.
No, don't call the cops.
Then shut up and get upstairs!
But if you call the cops on me, I swear to God I'll disown both you and him, and I'll find somewhere else to live. Wow!
How embarrassing must it have been for Sally and Ed for Cyraxx to finally go out to dinner with them after months, maybe even years of not being even allowed out of the house, from what we can understand. And they drag him out there. He is probably a little bit reluctant, and they're like, alright Cyraxx, just don't talk about anything from the internet, just chill out for one night please. And he's like, alright. And immediately, as soon as he meets an uncle that he hasn't burnt a bridge with, apparently he doesn't know him that well, for Cyraxx to explain his entire life story, or maybe Cyraxx just does this to him every time they meet. And his uncle's like, you know what, let me try to give this guy some advice. And maybe Cyraxx is already planning his crash out. He figured he could possibly move in with his uncle after this interaction, so he didn't really care how he treated Sally and Ed afterwards, because his uncle told him, no matter what's happening to you, you gotta look at the good and the bad of the situation. And I really feel like that's where his uncle's advice ended. And Cyraxx just added the last couple of parts to it, because that sounds awful like what Cyraxx would have to say. And now we move on to the altercation. I raised the sound up a little bit and I was able to hear more of what was going on, and I noticed that this entire argument started because Cyraxx said that Sally embarrassed him by interrupting his stream. It's not like everybody in the world who's even watching Cyraxx doesn't know that he lives with his grandma. Everybody knows this. How is her interrupting you embarrassing? You guys have had far more embarrassing moments, just like this one. So you mean to tell me just because Sally says something to you, you're going to make the argument this much worse, and you're going to come in at the very end bawling your eyes out? Like, this could have all been avoided if you would have just been calm about it, understood that you're screaming in the middle of the night, everyone else in the world has to work. But you've never had a job, so you just don't understand that. So what do? You take it out on your grandma. One of the last things that you should do, not only because you have nowhere else to go in this world, but because it's your grandma. What are you even thinking? It's not even about respect, it's about decency, morality. There's so many things that are wrong with this, Cyraxx, and you're gonna memory hole it and pretend it's all good. And he is acting like it's all good now, guys. Like, this didn't even happen to him. He's in fact blaming everyone because people apparently were calling his uncle afterwards, and that's why he was so upset. but he's going to ignore the part where he was telling Sally that he was embarrassed by her. And what's so funny, after 3 or so minutes of the entire household arguing, even the dogs getting some pretty good jabs in there every now and then, Sally's had enough of Cyraxx, and she's like, you know what, go back upstairs. I'm ready to embarrass you again, and let me embarrass you some more, Cyraxx. Like, whose grandma has ever spit that statement out of their mouth? Yeah, come on, grandson, I'm ready to embarrass you some more. And then Cyraxx is like, you know what, this is the final straw. I'm moving out. And everyone, even Ed, didn't have anything to say to it at first. He's like, yo, Cyraxx, you're not gonna move out. And he's like, wait, here's my opportunity. Yeah, go ahead, Cyraxx, get out of here. And he's being about as condescending as possible. And Sally knows Cyraxx has nowhere to go. And when he's like, I'm gonna disown the entire family, she's like, thank goodness, go ahead and do it. But as Cyraxx came up with those papers, Sally would not sign them. She would lock him in the room again, saying, you know, you're not leaving, Cyraxx, until you give me back those papers. We all know it. It's a sad truth of the matter, Cyraxx, and that's another reason Cyraxx shouldn't be acting like this. Because he knows he's going to get away with it. He knows 100% nothing's going to happen about it, except him and Ed are going to have a shaky relationship for the next couple of days until Sally talks him down. And another crazy part is Cyraxx was initiating all of this. He was the one talking down to Ed at first, and when Ed started talking back to him, it turned into Cyraxx, alright, you want to do that? I'm calling the authorities right now. You want to play that game? I'm calling the authorities. And then Cyraxx, he must have thought for a second after he realized what had happened. He's like, if the authorities come, I'm going to be the one leaving. It's not going to be Ed. So he quickly turns that around into, alright, don't you dare call the authorities. It's not going to happen. You guys do that, I'm leaving. And after that kind of argument, after that kind of outburst, when you provided nothing to the family in your entire 35 years or however old Cyraxx is at this point, you would think that would be the final straw. Like, alright, you went out so bad, I'm going to take you for your word this one time and you're gone. But that's enough for me today, guys. You can catch the full video of the argument, or at least a good portion of it, over on William's channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll catch you guys next time.